As a proud manager and running a family business, being fifth generation, over 164 years to date, it's important to emphasise the importance that family business plays across not only the Melbourne and Victorian economy, but really across Australia. It's very exciting that we have a presentation today from Family Business Australia. So I'd love to call to the podium a fellow family business owner, Chair of the Day, Past President Quinn Scalzo, to take over today's meeting and introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, Adrian. Members and guests, we're fortunate to have able to coax Olivia to replace Greg, who, as Adrian said earlier, unfortunately had a duplication of arrangements. Before I introduce Olivia, I just wanted to point out to a few of you some things that you may know. Rotary Melbourne has been involved with family business literally from day one. Late and great David Whitner was on the board of Family Business Australia. I think he had more than one term. The Forum Group, which Olivia is going to be kind enough to give a bit of background to, which started very early in the days of Family Business Australia, also had David Whitner as its initial member. I was also an initial member, and within that Forum Group today, Willie McIntosh is in that group as well. And our own president, Adrian Nelson, has also been part of the forum groups, which are a very interesting and stimulating way of learning from each other. Maybe not always about the balance sheet, not always about, how to market your company, but certainly learn a lot about family business. So back to Olivia. Olivia is the Family Business Australia and New Zealand Forum Group Manager, and brings to the role an expansive resume along with a demonstrated history of working in family business and corporate account management. In addition, Olivia is an experienced sales manager, business development leader, marketer, trainer, facilitator, recruiter, and here's the push, executive chef. She joins us today to provide insight on her personal family business journey and to highlight all of the Family Business Australia and New Zealand has to provide to members. And we'll be taking applications, if you like, at the end of the performance today. Come on board, Olivia.
Oh, well, what a lovely and very generous welcome. Thank you very much, Rotary Australia and Rotary Melbourne for having me here today and extending the opportunity. I would love to talk to you today about FBANZ and who we are, and what we do. But I think firstly, I'd like to share a bit of my personal history and how I came to be in family business. But first, let me acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and owners on which we stand today, the peoples of the Kulin Nation, particularly the Wurundjeri tribe. I also pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. The gentleman I'm seated with obviously will talk to forum groups, and I am incredibly passionate about the connection that we achieve in our forum groups at Family Business Australia. But a bit about me and how I've come to be within the business. I come from a very long line of family businesses. My father was a farmer, and he's second generation farmer in There's Lagoon, Serpentine, anybody know that country? Very flat, needing a lot of irrigation and a very, very hard way to earn a living. He took over from his father but bought out his siblings, and in that generation, women did not get a look into any sort of level of ownership or leadership on the land. They were to marry well, and the boys were to do very well out of the land. That's what we got to know, sitting around a boardroom table, which was this, our dining table. So that's how I was raised, on cattle, beef, cattle, wheat and sheep, and with the focus on good weather and lots of rain. I then moved into Melbourne. I was educated here at Furbank as a boarder, joined a very expansive group of women boarders. I joined there, very early on. I was a private boarder for my grandfather's first farmhand when I was 9, one of 3, so the last to be educated. So I think Mum and Dad were ready to just focus on their life at that point in time. But moving into the passion of food, it did come from the land and seeing my father operate with his brothers, one of them whom was a very successful tomato grower in Ferniehurst. So we're talking heading up towards the New South Wales border, where the Murray is bulging and flowing at the moment. So from there, I stepped into a very professional, I suppose, education. Furbank endorsed lawyers, accountants, really good high-end professional service careers, and I was completely out of that box. I really loved food, and I knew that I just did not fit into going to university, and so really with the support of my aunt, one of 9 children, my father was, and my now mother-in-law, I was able to find my feet in an apprenticeship. So I worked my way through again with another family operator who still is in family business here in Australia, moved into coffee, not necessarily cafes and restaurants. But I made my way through my apprenticeship, came through William Angliss and found myself overseas after working with Stephanie Alexander and Olympia Bortolotto. So some really amazing trailblazers in family business, and certainly women leading these brigades in a very male-dominated environment. Found a wonderful recruiter in London, and she set me up with the people who then led McLaren Formula One race team. So I became the lead chef there and built their international catering arm, and money was not an object, which was a really nice thing, yes, in food business. So I just had the pleasure of really bringing on board some of the most exceptional chefs across the globe, running those teams for our test division right through to our drivers at the time, which were oh my goodness, I've just had a mental blank. Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard. And we had the luxury of winning our race season when I was on the circuit across the 3 years. So it was a very busy time. I came back to Australia after accepting my husband's proposal, my now husband's proposal. I was as white as the screen beside me and as thin as a rake. And I knew that I needed out. And I think this talks back to why I've found myself leading Family Business Australia and New Zealand's forum groups. Because there are so many different nuances that are thrown to you across your life, and as many different levels of opportunity that are offered to us. I've learnt very heavily over the last 10 years of my life to supporting relationships and connection of individuals. I came back to Australia, stepped out of hospitality and became a recruiter with Jeff Slade, Slade Recruitment, who's also a family business. So you can see the drive that has found me having great passion in family business. And so when my sister-in-law said to me, who'd been running family business forum groups for 5 years, she said, Liv, I've got to take a step back. I've got to spend some time with my now young family. You've got old kids. Why don't you come on board? It will suit you. You will love the connection with the forum group members, let alone the 26 family business facilitating, family business specialist facilitators who lead these groups. I basically am the conduit between Family Business Australia and New Zealand and the forum group participants and their terrific facilitators. So look, to where we are now, that's a bit about me, and I love having a bit of a ramble, so hopefully that's given you a bit of a focus or at least an insight as to who in... Joe? So who doesn't love supporting family business? I mean, the stats are pretty clear. We have 75% of people in Australia and New Zealand who trust family businesses over any other business globally. So that's a pretty wonderful statistic. And we have obviously also 1.4 million Australian family businesses operating within Australia. So it talks to these stats a little. I think that we also need to focus on that Australians have the confidence to buy from another Australian. And I think we've seen that, especially over COVID, when we had people leaning into having a 5K radius. You had to walk around to your local butcher. You had to meet that person where maybe you would have had a connection to a supermarket that you couldn't necessarily come to. I think one of the biggest family businesses that have exploded in our gorgeous city of Melbourne is Shane Delia's Providore. I don't know whether anybody has lent into those deliveries over the last 3 to 4 years, but they're a terrific online business that pivoted. Obviously Shane Delia, well, you may not know, but he is a very experienced chef that I've worked with quite a lot in my career, and he was able to pivot because of being in family business so quickly and easily to deliver that extra level of return on investment. Otherwise he wouldn't have had that turnover. It's not happy with me, Joe. Here we are. And look, Family Business Australia and New Zealand, we are around, as Quinn has suggested, we've been around for 23 to 25 years. We're around to support family business in every way, to find their purpose, to find their feet in education, but also at the end of the day to allow them to thrive through their relationships within their own families, within their the view of themselves in that family business, and also how they can take those next steps. We've talked a lot already today about succession planning and governance, and we'll come to that because that is a very thick level of discussion, because of course we have a hell of a lot of our businesses moving out of the market across the last 5 to 10 years. So this just really highlights our businesses in Australia. I've noted that 70% of our businesses in Australia are owned and operated by Australians, by families. And I think the pie chart over on the side shows you where the majority are. Ironically, that's also where the majority of our forum groups sit as well. So you can see that New South Wales and Victoria take that pie, and we prefer, the preference is that people look to work. 50% of our employees sit in family business. And from what I've learned since being within family business, rather than attending family business awards and networking sessions across the years that I've been involved with our family business of Jimmy Possum, it's not only changed the way we do business, but I think a lot of people have considered family business as being very small. And as you can see by the bottom turnover chart, the majority of our family businesses are between that 2 to 20 million turnover. Giving you another bit of a pie chart. Everybody can see over on this side of the room. Terrific. Family Business Australia and New Zealand support all of our members, which we have over 2,000. And if we're looking at a cross-section of where the majority of our members sit, clearly we have competing elements. We are the family, we are the business, and we are the personal aspect. Whereas all of these businesses have industry-specific environments that they can go and receive extra support from. I think the cross-section of our membership base shows you that we're doing pretty well with supporting our small, medium and large businesses in Australia. Every year, as Adrian shared, we also do a survey of our members because we are a not-for-profit membership-based organisation. We take great pride in having that level of connection, and I think over the last 3 years I've been doing a SWOT analysis over my last 3 months, and what my forum group members are telling me is that over the last 3 years of COVID, it's been really, really hard because we haven't had that level of connection. So I think today it speaks volumes for being able to get together and be supported and enjoy each other's company. So So what we can see here is our competitive strength and performance in operating and supporting family business. 83% believe that being in a family business helps surviving economic uncertainty. I think I touched on Shane Delia's particular story. Because he was a family business, he was able to pivot so incredibly swiftly. Rather than close his restaurants and have all of his staff put on out to leave, he has changed the face of his business, which is now a nationally very highly successful business. The next thing that we focus on is clearly where are the challenges for family business? We are a balancing act. I'm a Libran. You know, not one family is a cookie cutter, and we can't use the same strategies to support one family to the other, whether it be industry specific, whether it be you know, the size of the family. It comes down to that personal connection. So as you can see here, we referred to the boardroom table, and this talks to sometimes, you know, conflict can be constructive, but it also can be extraordinarily challenging. Leads into a beautiful segue of my forum group members sitting around this wonderful environment here at Rotary today. Our governance side, terrific, thank you. I couldn't even see it. Thanks, Joe. We also mentioned the business of Family Business Australia and New Zealand is very much around not leaving any family behind, no matter what their needs are. Governance talks very much to the advisors that we have within our business. You can see that 55% of our larger businesses have formal governance mechanisms, and they lean very heavily into that to support family office, but also to support the success of them moving into that next stage of succession planning and actually exiting their businesses. Our advisors at Family Business Australia I'll come to soon, but we have 170 plus advisors that talk directly to the needs of family business, and we run governance courses around that. And a hot topic in our population, with $4 trillion to pass from our baby boomers to our next gen. You can see why we focus a great deal on succession planning at Family Business Australia and New Zealand. We have a third who are ready to exit out of family business, but we also have some very unprepared families, whether that be the leader and the entrepreneur who started the business, right through to the family. Is it that the next generation actually want to be in the business? Have they showed any interest? And that is where we can support through education and through connection to excellent advisors. So this really is the crux of our whole business model of support, connect and share. We run a 3-circle model, and as you can see where they intersect the numbers 3, 4, 6 and 7 is very much where we, that's our wheelhouse. We talk very much to family members who work for the business but don't necessarily have ownership interest. We support family members who have ownership interest but who don't work for the business. So for example, in a family office, I've just been meeting with a large transport business, family owned, built from grassroots 90 years ago, and 5 daughters have never had an interest, will never have an interest, and now need to work out how to work with the board because dad is now 79 and he is exiting the business. So helping that family work through the nuances of what's ahead of them before it becomes too late. And Quinn and Adrian and I have talked on that already today. So Family Business Australia, very, very similar synergies to Rotary and how much we are there to support and connect and to ensure community feels that they're not left behind. So our catch cry is connect, share, grow. And these are the things that we really want to help and support our family businesses with advocacy, with awareness, courses, networking, our emblem, which I'll talk to, and our family advisors. This next screen shows you some of the businesses that we work with and have supported over the years. I'm sure you can see some of those brands there that are very well recognised. And my baby, this is my wheelhouse. This is why I survive and thrive and am incredibly passionate about family business. The connection to individuals and the support, the confidence and confidentiality around these meetings, the passing of no judgment is what is the glue, to use Quinn's words earlier, of our forum groups. It is a successful model. We have a program that has been running peer-to-peer for the last 23 plus years, and over COVID we saw a need in the market that was very much for women stepping into senior leadership roles who have felt very much alone, and we pulled together a online forum group for women only, which has been highly successful over the last 2 years and continues to be so. So we have over 300 participants in this program. We have over 26 family business specialists, and you know, if you need to talk about that, see me offline or talk to one of these two gentlemen. There we go. Our education platform, very much when you become a family business member of FBA NZ, we would urge every member of a family to take a half day, which is a huge amount of time when you're talking family business, to do a half day of family business essentials. It runs you through everything that I've touched on already today, the scoping of how to set up that family charter, possibly how to talk to a family office. Have you got structures in place to support your family business? There are, as you can see, many other courses that we support our family businesses with across the trajectories of their lifespan and their requirements with us at FBA NZ. And I'm sure all of you, maybe more of us than we know, would recognise the first emblem, the family-owned Australian emblem down below. This is something that a lot of family businesses, small, medium and large, have got behind to talk back to that level of confidence that we would prefer to support a family business and know where we're going with our referrals and our dollars. Putting that $1 into that pocket of that family business then has flow-on effects of community knock-on, and that's, I think, a good synergy with Rotary as well. So studies have shown that family business are highly trusted by consumers and the public, with 76 of respondents citing family business can be trusted to do the right thing. Oops. As you can see, that's Carolyn Creswell from Carmen's Muesli. I think we all might know her fame and her rise of working originally in a muesli business and then going through and buying that business. She has been probably the biggest advocate of our emblem brand that we use now in Australia and New Zealand. It helps you identify products and to support family business. I mentioned advisor accreditation. We work and paired with Adelaide University 2 years ago to then move into a highly credible environment. We had a lot of advisors with us, and we've talked about that. You know, it was a quite salesy feel at our networking events, of which we have over 170 opportunities to catch up and network with our members. And members of ours were saying, well, that's just not what I'm wanting in Family Business Australia and New Zealand. I actually just want to come and connect with others, to share stories, to work out how I could move forward, to seek possibly some referrals, rather than get sold to at an event. What we've done after listening to our members is accredit all of those family business operators as advisors. So now they are highly credible in regards to specific areas of excellence, whether it be governance or succession planning, building a family office, your family charter, etc., etc. I think I've just touched on that, so we might move beyond that, but some of you might know that we've just recently celebrated on the 19th of September National Family Business Day 22. Of course, we had one of the largest families saying goodbye to their matriarch. So clearly that wasn't as joyous as we would have liked and hoped it to have been in regards to connection to our members, out of respect for Her Majesty the Queen. And now, obviously, that's another little area of my world. I now have the pleasure of saying to everybody that I cooked for the King of England. He was a prince at the time. This is how we roll. We love to network, we love to connect, and we love to be with and amongst our members. I think these gentlemen on the table that I'm sitting with can profess to how much fun we have when we get together at our National Family Business Conference, Asia Pacific. It's a ripper of a day, and by all means, see me offline if you'd like to join in. And finally, I just would like to thank you for your opportunity of having me here today. Jimmy Possum, which I think I probably ran over a little bit at the start, that was probably the largest family business that I worked within. I don't know whether anybody remembers Jimmy Possum. Yes, we've got some nodding in the crowd. So I was a sales leader and a trainer for our business. I joined Jimmy Possum as the first in-law to the business. I worked with my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, so a very complicated build of a family business, vertically integrated manufacturing as well as retailing, so a complex business model, let alone a very intrinsic blended family. So when we're looking at competitive advantage and how we all support each other, I think Margot and Alan taught me the best foot forward, that this too shall pass, and now we're in the same room as each other, able to celebrate the fact that we can now come together after such challenges. And at the end of the day, it's about that honest connection. And I think that's what I lean into every day, and that was very much from my Jimmy Possum days. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Stay there. We've got time for questions, and very important. This is the most important part of it. I'll start the ball rolling if I may. I've got a manufacturing company, okay, and my family would probably say, "Dad, what's the succession plan?" And I'd say the plan is there is no plan. And so how often do we hear that? But apart from our operation, the question I have is that in Australia today, we have an enormous number of small to medium businesses, people in the age bracket of probably 60 to 75. We're in manufacturing, looking to move on. And a lot of the young ones coming through have mortgage, increasing house prices, etc. The idea of saving to go into business is just something that's out of the line. How are we going to get over that?
Oh my goodness. Philip, I would suggest the way that Family Business Australia, and if Greg was here, the way that he would talk to that is that we get around you and we ensure that you've got the processes in place to support you, to ensure that you're talking to the right people in your family about taking over from you, and ensure that you've actually had that conversation and you're ready to let go. Because I think what I see in forum groups is, have I touched a raw nerve?
Let go. No, it really wasn't about our business, but I'm just saying that out there are thousands of businesses where people have this dilemma as to how they're going to move on.
What to do next, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, I am a lifelong learner. I'm a trainer, a facilitator. I lean into education and I lean into the networks and support that we have around us. And that is indeed why Family Business Australia and New Zealand offers so much support to family, because it's not necessarily just the family. We talk very much, as I highlighted, we talk family, we talk personal, and we talk business. And it's never just one of those conversations. It's so interwoven.
Okay. So, open to the audience. Who's got a question? And I'll bring you the microphone. Please state your name clearly. We'll go from there.
Bruce Davidson. We've had 2 years of serious drama. What was your role in supporting family businesses during COVID?
Yes, well, Bruce, it was Bruce. Yeah, thank you very much for your question. Sadly, I'm 4 months in to Family Business Australia, New Zealand. My sister-in-law, however, has been in forum group management with FBA. Don't worry, Joe, we don't need the screen. She has led the forum group program. So speaking to what she did from a business perspective, one of the biggest drivers was to support people to get connected online. So if we talk to our traditional forum group program, that is peer-to-peer, it is in person. It has around about 10 people from all different walks of life, industry, level of tenure in business and expertise in business, all coming together 10 times a year for 4 hours, facilitated by that professional family business facilitator. What she was able to do was to support hybrid models of that. So anybody who came down with COVID, God forbid, or was just under the pump because all of their staff had come down with COVID, or was experiencing, all of the delays, the challenges that we've had, as you say, were thick and fast. So that's how she dealt with our professional forum groups in a traditional sense, that side of the program, and she created a 2-year. An online women's only forum group. What Greg would say, if he was here, around how he supported the members, they moved to a model very much, I think probably about 6 months into COVID, 3 months for Melbourne members and Tassie members, who were being hit the hardest and fastest, with a letter to their members suggesting that not one family would be left behind. So if it were that the financial challenges were the height of the issue of being involved with FBA membership or forum groups, that we would look at that on a case-by-case scenario. So I think they did a terrific job of embracing the community and ensuring that there were lots of connection points in networking, albeit that we couldn't get together face-to-face. What I did, I lent into my family. Before that, I was running high-end luxury tourism. My love of passion, my passion of travel and food and wine, all of our high-end families were not coming to Australia anymore. So I, again, was working for a family business, 2 guys in South Melbourne, and I would build the look of and feel of the tour, and more often than not host the tour as well. When we had the bushfires come through, and then on top of that, COVID, it desecrated luxury tourism. So I stepped out very quickly and understood that their business was the necessity for profits and for them to stay open was that they couldn't be paying a subcontractor. And fortunately for my family, or unfortunately, depending on which member you'd talk to, I was able to be there for my 3 sons. So we had one going through VCE, one going through year 10, and one who was in grade 5. So that's what I did personally.
Anybody else? Bernie? Oh, yeah,
Is this going to be a tough one, Bernie?
Member of the family business.
No, Olivia, Bernie McIntosh, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Bernie.
Just completely hypothetically, if I did run a manufacturing business, clothing business in Preston, would there be a forum position available for me?
Love it. Yes, with open arms, Bernie. Is that the right answer?
Thank you. No, FBA obviously plays a role with government, both federal and state.
Yes.
Can you just elaborate on what you do?
Absolutely. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, I think from my perspective, I've reached out most recently to our patron, who was kind enough to give us a press release for the National Family Business Day. If you were asking Greg what he does, he ensures that he knows the movers and shakers in government and leans into ensuring that he meets with COSBOA, for example, on a monthly basis. He goes into independent fractions, ensuring that he is able to not necessarily walk the political line, but to show that we are open for business and supporting everyone. So he would ensure that we are having the member, for example, the member of South Australia Family Business. She is Small Family Business Minister now. She used to sit as an ambassador, Amanda Walker, and she has now got, I think it's Amanda Walker, excuse me if that's the wrong reference. She now sits in the Ministry of the Government, and she was able to host a beautiful luncheon for us on National Family Business Day and involve all of our any family businesses who could make the time to get there. So I hope that's answered.
Over to you, Quinn.
Thank you. Olivia, thank you. It's been
My pleasure.
wonderful.
Good.
Big thank you to Olivia, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
So, here we go, a political statement, Olivia. So these socks, you know, are made by a man in Preston.
Excellent.
He's right here from Wilderness Wear, and we're very grateful for Phil for continuing to support us in this way. And there's also a book here on Rotary, but a very big thank you, very big thank you indeed.
Thank you
We're
very
very
much.
grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck for your future. So a big thank you, of course, for the MC, past President Phil Endersby, with the reflection from Barbara Mendes, and for all our lunch team set up, reception, etc. As always, if you can stay back and help with the unpacking, we will be very, very grateful. A reminder, next week we meet here at number 35. As mentioned, President Adrian will be presenting this year's Vocational Senior Award to Robert Prodelin, entrepreneur and affordable housing advocate. Please join us all, and I know I'm not going to be here, but my son, who this gentleman was the boss of for many, many years in real estate, will probably bring his team because they're very anxious to hear. He's a leader in that field, and what a subject. Housing for people who can't afford it. It's a great subject. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the lunch.